back into it. Are there any questions about anything that we've discussed so far? Fantastic. All right, I'm going to again continue our discussion on attitudes, how we come to like, love, hate, things that we do, and how these things change over time. And the great efforts that go into trying to change our attitudes and how this is done. So one of the most important considerations is the medium of communication itself. This speaks to, are you trying to, persuade through using a written word? Are you using this through a television advertisement? Visual advertisements are usually the most effective. You want to, again, the audience has a huge influence, if you will, on the kind of message the kind of strategies that you'll use. So you can use informational, where again, especially through using the central routes of persuasion, where you just try and give people, just the bare facts and hope that those facts are persuasive enough in themselves. That's often not the case. So you also want to, depending upon on your audience, and this requires that you have strong working knowledge of the audience, that you want to look at message discrepancy. This speaks to that if I'm Joe Biden and I'm coming to speak in South Carolina about gun control, and I know that's probably not going to be the mindset and value system of the audience that I'm speaking with, I need to be mindful about that in terms of how I go about persuading them. Strategy that we use very often in America is fear. And again, keep in mind, right, whether we're talking about, advertisers, companies, your mean, grumpy professors, and our parents. They use fear to persuade us all the time. If you don't do this, if you don't eat your vegetables, here's what's going to happen. You better be afraid of these consequences. If you do drugs, you should be afraid of these potential consequences. If we don't reform our gun laws, you should be fearful of, more people getting shot. If we do reform our gun laws, other people will say, you should fear more people getting shot. And that's an important example, because a lot of times people will have the same, and again, this is the danger with their, I won't say a danger, of how information can be used and manipulated, even when it's the same information. But fear, one of the primary emotions and motivations of human beings, many psychologists believe, Maisha, is our chief emotion. And we make a lot of decisions out of fear, and especially fear of avoiding pain and discomfort. But there also, again, you can use positive emotions. That, hey, these good things will happen if you do X, Y, Z. That I want to persuade you that an investment in education can lead to, positive life outcomes for you all. I do this sometimes with direct messages, sometimes with subliminal messages. And again, there are a few folks that, that are in the business of persuasion, and all of us are in some capacity, whether it be to persuade your parents to do something that you are not sure that they want to do. You want to persuade some, young lady that you're worthy of her affections. Or you're working at Foot Locker, you want to persuade somebody to buy these new Kobe Bryants that you know are hideous and cost too much, but you can get a nice commission if they buy them. And they are hideous. I say this, Michael, because my brother bought some recently, and he be thinking that he can compete with me in a shoe game. He showed me a picture of some, and like, dude, just stop. You also, again, that in persuasion, and this is important. This is an important one. Short messages oftentimes are a lot better. 30-second commercials, man, like that's generally how long they last. And even though most people say that they're not influenced by advertisements, there's a lot of evidence to suggest otherwise. There may be sometimes, Ron, where you have to make a more lengthy case. And sometimes, again, knowing your audience is going to be important in this regard. That there are going to be some audiences, Ron, that making a longer, more developed argument will carry more weight in terms of being able to persuade. Other times you may shorten the message. Sometimes you may have an intermediate length message that you try and bolster with different things that will appeal to the emotions or things that go beyond just the central route. The central route, again, Maisha, is mainly trying to appeal to your logic. One of the things I want you to be mindful about is that a lot of times when folks do otherwise, that's making a statement about how intelligent they think you are. You all understand that, correct? That I can't appeal to your logic, so I gotta let me try and work on your emotions. For me personally, I hate that shit. Don't try and cater to my ego. Don't boast me with vanity. Like, I know who I am. So as students, I can't stand no teacher pet type stuff. Don't be doing that, man. I think most of y'all know that by now. What impresses me, Ron, is, do you know the material? That's what's going to persuade me. Oh, Dr. Muhammad, this is such a great class. You're such an interesting professor. Yeah. That does nothing for me. Maisha Hainsworth, you've been very patient.
I just wanted to make sure I was getting the correct
I think
point.
You're on mute.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh my gosh.
I get you.
I'm muted again.
Can y'all hear me now?
You know what? Hold up.
It's Dr. Muhammad, because we go through this all the time.
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. What I was trying to say, because and every time you teach a concept, I try to think of an example to make sure I'm getting it. So an example of the central process, when you first say you talking to us about maybe just hey, you need to do this because this is gonna be good for your resume, blah 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 blah. Boom, this is why. Yeah. But when you work with people emotions, a car salesman, they be out there all day trying to sell you that car because they got to make sure that they find something to stick,
Absolutely,
with your emotions. I'm just trying to make sure that's the correct thought process.
That's a great example. And look, that's it. Understanding your audience is an important aspect of that. That yes, we do buy cars and stuff, because gas mileage and how much will it damage the environment and things like that. Is this a good car? If you live in an area with a lot of snow, is this a good car that will help me navigate through that? But we do have emotional connections to products, right?
You look good in this car.
Right.
I can see you in this car.
Right. Man, Michael, all the honey's gonna be checking for you in this ride, dog. Maisha, do you have children? This car will definitely keep your children safe. It's gonna be a lot more secure in this Volvo.
I'm sorry, I thought you was asking me that for real.
No, I know you ain't got no kids. We talking to the 2030 Maisha.
Ooh.
I want to start no rumors. But yeah, so understanding that again, right? The emotional part does matter. I just don't want you to be persuaded by emotions alone. If you're only buying this car that you can't really afford, Ron, because somebody connected, sold you emotionally. And these payments are a little bit out your range, dog. You just want to give it some thought. But the emotions, yeah, it definitely plays a role. Like, okay, look, if I have two equally, performing cars that I had interest in, the one that I think, I may that may speak more to my personality, that's what may win out. Ron Anderson. And I'll come back to this in a moment. I want to make sure I get through as much as possible before we break in a few. Go ahead, Ron.
I just wanted to throw another kind of emotion / feeling in there. I feel as if a perfect one for that is, the fear of missing out. That's because, again, in the stock market world, damn,
absolutely,
it rose 15% already. I missed that, but now I see it. Damn, what if it rises another 50%? Mm-hmm. See, now I'm in a position. Now it drops 30%. You see what I'm saying? Fear of missing out.
Right, yeah. Right. And then what I want you to do in that situation is do your own research to see if those numbers are actually true.
Exactly.
Because sometimes people may tell you that, and again, if they're an expert, oh wow, this person all types of people be getting had all the time with things like that on the stock market and buying all types of products. Like, man, look, and later we're gonna tell you about specific strategies like those what you just described, Ron. There's a specific persuasion technique that's called. So again, people will do this all the time, will make you feel like you're missing out. Like, look, Maisha, I didn't want to tell you, my boss is going to kill me for telling you this, but look, we got this stock that I'm only supposed to really give to the high rollers. But, since you're so cool, I'm going to share this with you. Oh, dang, I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. He wouldn't give me this otherwise. Hey, nah, man, got to be using critical thinking skills. The whole system of society is based upon money. And to try and pry you from yours as quickly as possible. It's impossible to not have to spend money out here, but I want you to spend money on things that you want at times that you want to do it. Fear, again, that is the main one. And that's a great one, Ron, that it can be fear of missing out. And one extra credit point for your example as well, Maisha, very good. It can be a fear of missing out. It can be a fear of something bad happening. But, Michael, fear is only effective as a strategy if I can persuade you that what I'm offering you makes sense as a solution to reducing that fear. We need to go to water with a rock because you just saw what happened with 9/11, right? It's awful. Show them some footage again in case they didn't get the message, Michael. Let's show some people jumping out of buildings and stuff. That's very scary. So if you want to avoid that happening again, Ron, I need y'all to support me and go into war with these people. Otherwise, hey, if y'all cool with jumping out of buildings and stuff and, towers getting knocked down, cool. We ain't got to go to war. It's on you, dog. It's your choice. But if we don't go to war right now, these scary bad things are going to happen. If we don't begin locking people up, for really small petty crimes, then these violent drug shootouts and stuff that you saw in Florida down in 1998, this is going to happen everywhere. So we got to be tough on crime. So again, keep these things in mind. Hey, Maisha, I need you to keep your curfew at 10 o'clock because, if you don't, this XYZ may happen if you out too late. And there could be, again, good reasons for your curfew to be restricted. Ron and then Maisha.
My bad for holding you back, but
I'll double back. I just want to make sure that y'all get as much of this as possible, but I will go back over these things. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry.
So now we're talking about fear, basically, fear to appeal to it, again, that's fear missing out, so forth and so on. And then what dawned on me was, what was it? Terror management. There was another word for it. Terror management. No, the terror management theory.
Okay, right.
Humans cope with the fear of their own death by constructing worldwide views that preserve their self-esteem, right?
Yes.
So then I was thinking, damn, the first thing that jumped to mind is religion. The existence of God or a God, depending on how you see that. And it's like, now that now I'm putting it together, are a lot of people like, I'm just wondering, are people really just scared of dying? So then, that terror management theory, they construct this worldwide image of, I'm going to heaven. And then that fear kind of gets them to fall in line with, I'm practicing this religion because I want to go to heaven.
Right.
Yeah, that's the connection I just made. I just randomly.
Yeah. And again, do your own research on this. But yes, organized religion use a great deal of these many tools. And quite frankly, like my biggest challenge, Ron, is just like, the do your own research part. It's like, look, these stories that you said, they sound really exciting, but can you show me some evidence of the virgin birth? Like, can I see that for myself somehow? Can I actually see, do you have any sketches or evidence of Jonah living in this well? Can I see that? Can you actually give me some reports of these Muslims that have sacrificed themselves for Prophet Muhammad? Can you give me some reports of their access to the virgins? Can you let me know how that's going down so I can see for myself? It's possible you might really be telling me the truth. I need to see a little bit more. Again, that doesn't, I could be missing out on all types of things by needing that kind of, persuasion. But yeah, you're gonna have to show me more times than that. You also, again, we talked about before, right? That we all at the base level, whether you've worked in a commission job, where you tried to persuade some girl to talk to you that didn't want to, you try and persuade your professor to give you an extension on the paper that he gave you a month ago. We've all used tools of persuasion. The first, again, is with our parents. And we all have seen that message might go a little bit different, Michael, that if mom and dad are in a good mood or if they're in a bad mood. It's like, okay, look, I'm going to ask to use the car. I'm going to see if I can stay out a little bit longer. I already got my message plan. Daddy coming home in James Evans mode. I know that's a little bit before y'all time, but he mad as hell. Slamming doors, like, oh, shit. You got to have a different strategy now, Maisha. A lot of times, like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to ask him nothing. But if you see, if you see they in a good mood, you be on it. Him on the phone loud, like, hey, Dad, let me get you this before you get in a bad mood again. Let me ask you this right now. Be mindful about this as well. Again, as a salesperson, if you see somebody, if you're working in the mall, back when I'm not sure if they're going to be malls anymore, but y'all, work with me. That if somebody, somebody's walking past your store and you see that they're smiling in a good mood, hey, can I show you this product real quick? You got to be mindful of those kind of things. Somebody, frowning up, okay, I might need to holler at them later on. Somebody cursing out their kids. All right, this might not be the best time. But when people are more, and again, most of these things make, just intuitive sense. When people are in a good mood, they're more agreeable. And again, none of this that we're talking about in this class is opinion or anecdotal. All these things have been heavily researched. People are more open to, and again, you got to be mindful about this for yourself, Maisha. That people are going to be looking for you in a good mood. Like, hey, you're in a good mood coming out of graduation. Let me try and sell her this, mortgage right now while she's in this great mood. Again, you're more going to be open to persuasion. You're going to be more sociable. You'll talk a lot more when you're in a good mood. A lot of times, again, with, so my kid, when you're at the club and stuff, dog, be monitoring. The mean face, the mean mugging girl over there, that might not be the move right now. Oh, hell no, she looked pissed off. I was getting ready to go over and try and spit my game, but this might not be the move right now. Let me see if she in a better mood in class on Monday. People are going to be more generous. You're going to get more donations again when people are in a good mood. And they'll be more decisive. And again, like I said, you should be mindful of your own ability to be persuaded. That a lot of times people will be more decisive, but without really thinking through what they're agreeing to. So positive feelings, that makes it easier for us to go through the peripheral route, as opposed to me using facts and information to persuade you. Let me get you to feel good about you. And again, that's why I like the whole vanity and blowing up my ego stuff. Like, you know, that stuff annoys me. Just tell me what you want me to buy or what you're trying to persuade. Like, you know, give me the information. But trying to, like, you know, like, again, appeal to, like, vanity and stuff. I find such appeals very insulting.
I was just gonna say, like, an example. You know how you like butter up your mama, like, Mom, you look good today, and you know you need that money.
Right.
How was your day? Like, you really don't care.
And one of the first things your mama gonna ask you, what you want, or what you do. Like, yo, you being too nice. You set me up to ask for something. Your parents ain't stupid, dog. Mom, you're such a good mom. I really love you. You really look out for us. Can you pay for my first year of grad school? And again, sometimes you may need to do that, but don't be thinking that your mama's stupid, Maisha. It's like, just tell me what you need. Like, look, I really want to be like, go into this field. It costs a whole bunch of money. They're going to be trying to ask me to go into debt. I really don't want to do that. Okay, cool. That makes sense. I'll pay for your first 2 years of grad school. And again, subliminal messages, again, as we talked about, even though many of Freud's theories have been a bit discredited, to say the least, we still rely very much on his introduction of our notion of the subconscious, where so much of our thinking and behavior is rooted at. One of the things I want you to understand, Michael, again, that, people, particularly powerful people that run this country and that run the world, they study human beings all the time. They study human beings. So a lot of people already know that the things that are part of your, that they can pull subliminally in terms of trying to motivate you. You all understand that, correct? Of course, young people like having a good time and hanging out with their friends and stuff. So I know that this beer commercial and stuff may not, be really promoting my product, but this is a way for me to appeal and get over to them. For older people, it may be a bit different. For professional people, for white collar workers, it may be different from blue collar workers. But it also helps if they're already motivated to take the action. So again, and using your religious example, if there are people again who, that is probably will be easier for me to, let me say it this way. The donation plate does not come around at accidental times. Things are done very strategically. Everybody, feeling good with this, the 13th song that we sung today here at church. If you feel as good about Jesus as I do, why don't you give me $500? Why don't you give Jesus $500? And again, I just use this example. Again, these things go on in the mosque as well. Be making people feel bad if they don't give a certain amount of money. And again, knowing your audience is really important. So again, there are certain people, and Ryan, all of you all, and again, my short time with you all kind of strike me in this regard. Your question the other day, Ryan, during the Pi Gamma Mu meeting, reflected this, that, a need for cognition meaning look, I need to understand, all the pros and cons and ins and outs of what I'm getting into, which is dope. I hope you all stay like that forever. But it's important, Maisha, that you understand that many people ain't like that. With politics and stuff like that, right? I'm very invested in issues and policy and things like that. Politicians know that most people ain't like that. You got to find other ways to appeal to people. And even if you got some really good ideas, like one of the things that Barack had to learn is that, like, so Barack, much like myself, sometimes he would, like, try and talk and explain things as a college professor, because that's what he was in his former life. And we be a little bit more elaborate and detailed in our explanations. That ain't a good look for politics. Ain't nobody trying to sit in your class, Barack. Tell me what the hell this policy is finna do for me in the next 30 seconds. That's a skill. So again, we talk about this and we'll close on this note. Good discussion here today. Ask yourself again, are you high or low in the need for cognition? So again, these things, you really enjoy a task that involves coming up with new solutions to problems. And again, this ain't just for academic context, right? In many different social, like I know people, again, that, just really get excited, like with like, I know people like I hate, even though I'm a grade job papers and edit them and I edit my own work all the time, but I don't be liking that stuff. I know people that like love that stuff. Like it's really exciting to them. It's like, I think those people are a little bit psychotic, but I know people like that. Thinking is not my idea of fun. So like when I play games and stuff, like, board games, video games, it gotta be some strategy involved where it's not gonna really hold my attention. Like the thing that I like about sports, for example, Michael, in many ways, is the intellectual aspect of it. The thinking, the philosophy, like, man, are they running this defense? How they how they finna, again, most people, they just watching the game. And God bless them. They can get enjoyment out of it as well. I'm not trying to say that I'm a better fan, but yeah, I'm looking at it a bit different. The notion of thinking abstractly is appealing to me. I like tasks that require little thought once I've learned them. I usually end up deliberating about issues when they do not affect me personally. It's enough for me that something gets the job done. I don't care how or why it works. There are many and most Americans, and Ron, again, so for Ron, it seems strange to him. I saw him especially like, what, you don't even care how it works? And doing math and stuff. It's a lot of math students like, look, I just got the right answer, dog. I don't need to show my work and really show how I figured all this stuff out. Like the answer's right, dog. But for some of us, and there's some tasks where it's like, look, here's the answer. There's other tasks where it's like, nah, I need to really understand how I came. Like I try and teach you all in this way where I ain't just focused on you getting the right answers, Maisha. I want you to be thinking about the process. Close this out, Maisha Hainsworth.
I was just going to ask a question. Could you go back to the need for cognitive slide real quick? Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
And also, did you say that you're extending our writing assignment to
No,
next week?
No, I did not say that. I said, the specific thing I said is that y'all might have a better chance of persuading me if I'm in a good mood than in a bad mood.
Well, you seem pretty happy right now.
I am. All right. No, y'all do not get no extension. Hell no. But I am in a good mood. You're right. But that was smooth. Absolutely. It is a good try. It's a lot better than the days y'all be coming in here and ain't nobody read or nothing. Y'all definitely ain't finna get no extension on days like that. But who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind over the weekend. But real talk, Maisha, you don't get to persuade people if you don't attempt to persuade them. There are many things I have gotten in life that I did not think I was gonna get just by asking. My girlfriend, I didn't think she was gonna say yes, Michael. But I asked. And a couple years later, here we are. Amazing. So again, closing out, when we talk about your audience, you want to, again, look at the regulatory fit. And we have to become more skilled in self-monitoring ourselves. So again, what this speaks to very quickly is not only understanding how our audience is, trying to put ourselves in the mindset of the audience, but you need to kind of see how your audience is seeing you. And within that, you have to monitor certain things. So like one of the things, like you hear a lot of times, Michael, that, from educators that there's no such thing as a stupid question. As somebody who's been an educator for a little while, I'm gonna tell you that that's not true. But particularly now, especially now when I can see myself on screen, like my poker face is not always the best, but I'm trying to get better at self-monitoring, where if somebody asks me like, a question that may not be the most intelligent, that I don't show that in my face. That could, harm my ability to persuade. And then finally, again, program-oriented versus prevention-oriented. So like, hey, I want you to do this, Maisha, because it'll enhance your ability to practice psychology professionally once you leave Allen. As opposed to, if you don't read, Maisha, you're going to fail this class. So again, both, and I, at different points, I'm going to use both of them strategies. But if you only use one approach all the time, it's like, so if I'm only coming negative and like, hey, if y'all don't do this, you're going to fail, that's not going to be the best strategy. But I also can't, Michael, be only trying to like pump y'all up all the time. Like, it is important. Like, I think part of my job is to make you aware of some negative consequences, but we don't want to harp on those. But final point, the audience determines a lot of that. We talk about parents and children, and parents do not raise all their children the same way, because like if they got 4 kids, they have 4 different audiences. And the persuasive techniques that they might use for the oldest child, Ron, might not be as effective for the youngest child. I know that's definitely was true for me and my siblings. We'll conclude there. Please continue to work on your papers, and I'll see you all on Tuesday. Keep reading. Make sure you know where you're supposed to be at in the syllabus and get there accordingly. I'm still way behind, but don't worry, I'll get caught up. So I hope that you all will do the same if you're not there yet. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.